You know, D&D has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. For 3 years, I was part of a campaign with my wife and a bunch of really close friends of mine. And when it ended, it was very sad, but we reached the end of our campaign in a moving way that made a lot of sense. And then when we moved, we started a new campaign, and that ran for a couple of years. And looking forward to those like Friday or Saturday nights, I can't remember when we did it. Looking forward to those nights where I would get together with my closest friends and my wife and play make believe around a table and roll dice and laugh and joke around and have a couple drinks were some of my best times ever.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
And a few years ago, we moved again, and we haven't been able to have a campaign. We don't have enough people to have a campaign. We're too busy with life, with the kids, and our house, full-time jobs, just life in general. And for years now, I've had a polyhedral die-sized hole in my heart. And Dimension 20, which I'm a big fan of, has done a lot to fill that hole. But I haven't played D&D in a long time now, like 4 years. And I've been really, really needing to find a way to fill that in me. To the point that I've really tried to get friends to hop on. Or I've even considered jumping in randoms on like a website to play online, which I don't like the idea of. But then Baldur's Gate came out. Baldur's Gate 3, which I had never played any of those Baldur's Gates. I wasn't even aware of this title, even though it had been in early access for years. Baldur's Gate 3 came out. A close friend of mine was like, hey, you gotta play this. You're a big fan of Dungeons & Dragons. You love 5e. You gotta play this. So I downloaded it. And I'll tell you what, man. My polyhedral size hole. I came up with that. I thought it was clever. The hole in my heart that D&D has left has been filled by Baldur's Gate. And not temporarily filled. Truly filled. And I just gotta gush about this game for a little bit from a veteran D&D player. Now, hopping right into Baldur's Gate 3, my initial instinct and what I did was I made my longest running D&D character that I played. His name was Jinx Jinxley, and back then we used alignments. I played Chaotic Neutral, and he was a wild magic sorcerer. I played him for 3.5 years, and seeing him come to life, and honestly, what is the best character creator I've ever seen out of any video game title, seeing him come to life on screen exactly how I'd imagined him in my mind for like 8 years now.
That's a penis.
Was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in a video game. And I've made him a bit in other games, but in this, it's D&D video game. I'm playing him. I'm making decisions that he would make. And what's the most important part about D&D? Let's be honest. It's the Dungeon Master.
You are a sick son of a bitch.
Gonna kill that dog.
Oh my God, you're a sick son of a bitch. He's the bad guy. You.
All the bad guys.
And I'm not saying that as a Dungeon Master. I've done a few one-shots, and I think I'm a pretty good storyteller. I'd love to be a DM one day. But I have by no means a great Dungeon Master. I've had great Dungeon Masters. I've had shit Dungeon Masters. But a DM will make one of the most amazing stories you can possibly think of. They'll come up with NPCs off the top of their head. They won't railroad you while also getting you to go in the direction of the story without you really realizing they're going in the direction of the story. But they're also able to make up shit on the spot to have a good time. This game is an RPG. Everything's already made. Nobody's making things up on the spot. But the thing is, everything feels like it's made up on the spot. This feels like D&D, unlike any other RPG ever has. Unlike Tor or Skyrim or Dragon Age or anything else that calls itself an RPG. Nothing really makes me feel like I'm role-playing like in this, like I'm making decisions like in this. Almost everything is interactable. Every single character is interactable. There's 100,000 different ways to complete anything. There were so many times, because of my high charisma as a sorcerer, that I didn't fight people. There was one point, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's one point towards the beginning of Act 2 when you're in this place that if you go out into the shadows, you die. You come across this like party of evildoers. And they have an ability to be in the shadows. And you convince them, you could fight them, by the way. You could fight them and have a horrible, gruesome battle that you might lose because they're very powerful, and take their thing that allows them to go in the shadows. But me, as a sorcerer with high charisma, I just convinced them to give it to me, and then I said, you're blessed now, go on to the shadows. And they fucking die. Just like that. And that happened so many times. And it's things like that within this that truly make you feel like you're playing D&D. I don't save scum. I got no problem with save scum, by the way. There was a run where I did save scum because I was trying so hard to romance Shadowheart. I love Shadowheart. She's the best one. She's the best girl. Karlach's great. Don't get me wrong. Karlach is great. But Shadowheart, I feel like I can fix her, you know? I feel like I can fix her. But anyway, I'm going to spoil Act 1 here quite a lot because I want to explain why it feels so much like D&D with the decisions I made and what happened because of those decisions. So, I accidentally got all of the druids killed.
You're a monster.
Why? Because the little evil druid lady that was trying to shut the grove down seemed evil to me. And I thought if I got rid of her, everything would be better. So I killed her. But then obviously all the other druids were mad. So then they fought with the tieflings, and eventually the tieflings won and all the druids were dead. And I was like, well, god damn it, that sucks. You know, that's not what I meant to do. But hey, the tieflings are alive, and it happens. It was an accident. But damn. So then I go to the goblin camp, and I talk my way through, and I have no combat and everything. And then I eventually get to Minthara, you know, the drow elf that is leading these goblins. And I talk to her, and I'm like, you know what? I killed the other people in secret. What I'm going to do with her is I'm going to draw her out to the grove. And when she's there, I'm going to betray her. And me and the tieflings are going to fight her and kill her. So I'm like, yeah, this is where the grove is. I'll meet you there. You know, I'm going to plan on killing her. And she's like, all right, wait for next light and we shall attack the grove. So I go back and I do a long rest and I go there and I'm too late. She killed the whole grove. And I find out that she killed the whole grove because the grove couldn't defend themselves without the druids. They barely even closed the gate. They all fucking died. And I'm like, oh, damn. So I go talk to Minthara and she wants to have sex with me. And I'm like, well, you know, she is hot. You know, she's drow, you know, kind of a bad girl. So I sleep with her, and I have a party with the goblins at my camp, and Karlach is mad at me, and Will is mad at me. Oh, wait, I couldn't actually get Karlach. Will was mad at me. Yeah, I couldn't get Karlach because she was all mad that the tieflings died, but I wanted to complete the quest, but I couldn't get her onto my team, unfortunately, so I was like, well, damn, now I gotta kill Karlach. That fucking sucks. And all of these bad things kept happening, even though I was trying to make good decisions, you know? Trying to make a little bit chaotic decisions, but good decisions. And my buddy Chris described it as, I'm just jar-jarring my way through things, just stumbling through somehow good decisions, but maybe they're actually bad decisions. But it feels like D&D. I'm experiencing a whole side of this story that I never thought that I would be able to experience, and that other games don't even offer. And I'm doing it all by accident. And shit like that is so D&D. But it's not just that, it's small details. Like, you can communicate with every single animal, you can discover tiny little things. You can spend 4 hours, like honestly, I speed ran Act 1. You can get done with Act 1 in like an hour and a half if you're even a bad gamer like me. Or you can spend like 90 hours there because there's just endless content. This world is so expansive and massive, and it makes no sense how this is all just in one video game. And then when you get to combat with the turn-based, somebody like me who, again, like I said, not great at video games, you feel amazing like a badass because you're able to go into this tactically like you would in D&D 5e. Honestly, I haven't played multiplayer, but I feel like if I was to find 3 friends of mine and we were to run through this and make a schedule to get on like every Friday night or something, it would feel exactly like a D&D campaign. And the fact that a video game was able to mimic that is just wild to me. And it's down to like the small details that games put in, that this game has. Like perception checks, right? I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you know, you shouldn't even see the perception checks. If you all fail the perception check, then you know something is there anyway, even if you don't know what's there. But that's what it's like on a tabletop. The DM asks you, hey, everybody roll perception. And if you all fail, he goes, oh, okay. And you're like, what? Why? What's going on? He's like, you know, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then you hear him roll like 30 dice and you're like, okay, fuck, we need to prepare something. And that's why it's in here. Because this is a video game, but more than that, this is Dungeons and Dragons. And they have found a way to make you feel like you have a dungeon master in this game. and it is beautiful. Now, I haven't quite finished it because, I keep getting to halfway through Act 2, and I'm like, well, I wonder what Act 1 is like if I do this different. I play with a new character, then I'll make somebody else, and I'll get halfway through Act 2, and I'll be like, oh, well, maybe like playing with a drow would be fun. I wonder what kind of relationship they have with Minthara. And then I get halfway through Act 2, and I'm like, ooh, Dark Urge sounds good. And again, also like D&D, unfinished campaigns galore. But it's amazing. If I was stranded on an island, classic age-old question. If I was stranded on an island, I would bring this game with me. Because I feel like even 15 years from now, I will be discovering new things in this video game. But I want to know what you guys think. If you're somebody that's never played Dungeons & Dragons, I want to know how this game affects you, how you think it plays, if you're having a good time. If the combat's annoying to you, because I love the combat, but I've heard some people say that it feels too slow-paced. Or if you are as big into Dungeons & Dragons as I am, I want to know if you're having a similar experience. So let me know. But thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my videos.